recently, a judge ruled that Starbucks had to start paying their employees for all the work they do. That seems pretty logical, doesn't it? That Starbucks can't require employees, for example, to work off the clock. This scam of working off the clock, it just is endless. We see it with Walmart. We see it with all the big box stores. And it's just stealing. It's theft. It is your time as a worker has a value. So I'm going to steal from you and asking you to do stuff without being paid. Now, you take that and you take it over thousands of people, and at the end of the year, you've made tens and hundreds of millions of dollars by stealing from your workers. Now, here you got Starbucks. I don't know what it is about Starbucks. I don't know. People go to Starbucks and they get to work their computer because they got an internet service. The PR of it has got this brand and this image that we're Starbucks. We do it right. You don't have to worry about us. We're going to be above board. They're criminals. I mean, this is criminal conduct. There's no question to me. Now, under the legislature, they may be able to say, well, it's not technically criminal. I think it could be articulated as technically, but I've handled these cases, just so you know. Yeah. I handled the one against Walmart, was one of the biggest, actually, pay theft cases in the country. And so I'm real familiar with what they're doing here. Time is money, and they're trying to steal money from workers.
Well, I think that's the best way to put it. When you have a couple thousand stores throughout the country, but you only ask 2 or 3 people every day at the end of their shift, they've already clocked out, they're about to go home. Hey, by the way, can you go empty the trash cans real quick? Just real quick, it's 10 minutes. So you're stealing 30 minutes a day from, 3 different people, but you're doing it at 1,000 stores or 2,000 stores in the case of fast food restaurants, who are also horrible with this. This is the #1 form of wage theft in the United States. And of course, the average person isn't going to say, well, they took 30 minutes of my life this month. There's not much I can do about it. But there is. There's some big, class actions about all this going on. And if you found yourself in that situation, you need to report it. You need to look into who is handling these major cases. If you've got documentation, if you've got videotape or recordings, keep those. Oh, yeah. Hang on to them, because this is important.
Let me tell you how this got started. 1961 or thereabouts, maybe a little bit later, the courts came up with this concept called the de minimis time. And that is, they say, well, sometimes it's okay for an employer to do this, but it should be kept at an absolute minimum. Okay, it's called called the de minimis doctrine. I think that's the way it's referred to. So the de minimis doctrine says, yeah, you can do this a little bit, you can fudge a little bit, but you can't do it a lot. Starbucks is doing it a lot, just like Walmart did a lot, just like all these big box stores do. Here's what they do. They say, John, or Mary, you're really doing well here. I really think there's a management position for you here if you keep shining. Well, management, keep shining means keep doing all this stuff I'm asking you to do off the clock, because it makes me look better as a manager, because we're getting all this stuff done and you're keeping the cost down for my store. It's all about money. Each store manager has got to report, right? And store manager A wants to say, wow, look at the money I saved. Well, yeah, he saved it on the back of his workers.
It's funny you tell that story, because as you're saying that, light bulb goes off in my head. I worked at a chain restaurant when I was in college. That exact same scenario played itself out, and it actually played itself out the same way you just said. I was a busboy. I'd finish my shift. It was the end of the night. I'd be done, and the manager would say, hey, I need to do inventory tonight. I really need somebody to stay here with me. Can you do this? You did a great job last time. I made you stay off the clock and do this. Yeah. And they really loved it. So if you could it would be 2 or 3 hours. Then at the end of it, I wasn't getting paid at all. And he'd say, hey, I'll tell you what, I'll buy you a 6-pack of beer. Yeah. So they spend $4,
and you worked $30 worth of work.
Right, up until 2 a.m. in the morning. But they do it all the time. I mean, I've seen it myself personally. I would go into this restaurant sometimes, and they would say, hey, after your shift, do you think this would be really helpful for us? And you're doing great here. Can you go paint the handrails outside of the restaurant? I did that because I thought, what? They love me. I'm solidifying.
That's it. That is actually, when we looked at the Walmart case, that was the theme that came up all again. It is, how would you like to have on your badge assistant manager? Well, okay, yeah, I'd like that, but the person who's doing that to you is not telling the rest of the story. He's not telling the story. Hey, Farron Cousins is out there doing this stuff, and he's saying to his manager, I did a really good job, didn't I? I got a lot done, and we paid minimum amount of money to do it. So that's what we would see on the Walmart case is a great example, because they really mastered that. They actually even gave talks on how to do that with employees. How do you get the employees to do that extra? How do you squeeze that extra dime out of them? And it's absurd, but you would see it. That was part of the playbook. That was part of the management style.
That is crazy. And people may think too, like, well, I didn't mind, it was fine. I stayed 15 minutes later. I didn't have anything going on the rest of the day. Or the manager could come in and say, hey, look, you do this for me. I know you don't like working nights. You'd rather work mornings. We can probably make that happen for you.
Yeah.
And it's all sweet talk from the manager to squeeze everything they can out of the
We got a little time.
here.
I want to go to this story. I love this story. That was an official that was charged with manslaughter because of the deaths that took place in the Flint water crisis. It's about time, okay? Why is it that we never, this is manslaughter, man. Why is it we always treat it different when it's a corporation? Take it from there. This is a very important move up there.
Right. State Health Director Nick Lyon charged with 2 counts of manslaughter for hiding the Legionella bacteria that was in the water, did not tell the public for 10 months after they discovered it. So Nick Lyon has become the fall guy.
Oh, yeah, but he's...
But they should squeeze him and make him squeal. And whatever he has on everybody all throughout that Michigan government...
Rick Snyder.
That knew about it and did nothing. Give them all the info. Let's get more charges filed against these criminals.
This is a really good start, because the only way you really change it is not by fining them. These people, you think Rick Snyder cares about bad publicity? This guy's built his entire political career with bad publicity. You just got to say, sometimes this should not be the fall guy. He's only a small cog in the works. Perp walk the rest of them, and you'll see that this kind of conduct actually changes after a while.